So I'm actually told to talk about the prophecy, which I don't understand because, you know, I can't be the only one that knows this. If my spirit guardians have told me this, then other people's guardians and guides have probably told it to them too. Why am I? Maybe there's somebody out there that needs to hear it, and I don't know. Especially, why am I saying it now? Because three quarters or more of it has already begun to happen. Why am I even bothering at this point that most of it's already started? But you know, you don't argue with your spirit guides. When they tell you to do something, you just do it. So our spirit guardians / spirit guides are basically, they're kind of like, well, some guides can be intermittent, but the ones that I'm talking about are there from birth to death, sometimes a little before, sometimes a little after. They're there to guide you along your path, along your life's purpose. And they're there to also protect you and guard you from anything that may cause you ill harm. So basically, they're guiding you along this path, and you know, if you're pagan, you actually interact with them on a daily basis, day and night, even when you're dreaming. Actually, some people interact with them more when they're asleep than when they're awake. For me, I can always hear them in the background telling me something. You know, and I've got quite a lot of them. It just depends on the person. But anyway, they're always telling me something. And I'd say, how long has it been? I've lost track of time actually. 4 or 5 years ago? Maybe? I don't know. It's been a while. I was told that basically, and I'll explain about it, what I mean by all this later, but this is what I was told. First, there's kind of an array of just general bad luck and things where the people who have done wrong, the ill intent, are finally starting to get their punishments, but their punishments are happening like kind of all together all at once. And that starts simultaneously at the same time. Mother Earth, Mother Nature, starts to get stronger, and she's held back for a long time anyway, and she's bringing her wrath to specific spots, causing natural disasters to specific spots where a lot of these people, these ill intent, evil people reside. Now that doesn't mean that pure intent doesn't live there, but that's kind of part of why Mother Earth has held back for so long, because she wants it to hold back so that she doesn't hurt any innocent in her path. But sometimes she can't avoid it. Sometimes she can't help it. When she sends a storm, sometimes it takes some innocent lives with it as well. So massive storms like hurricanes and things, or really big tornadoes, and that hit very specific areas and spots. Giant fires, earthquakes, I mean, you name it, volcanic eruptions, drought, you know, anything that you can think of, just you name it, you know, it's happening simultaneously in certain spots, okay? This will continue to get more and more intense as time goes on. So it doesn't go away, but it just kind of slowly gets more and more intense up to a certain point, and then it's really intense. But it's always targeted, seemingly targeted, certain areas. Then the next phase is the famine and disease. Now, I would have never thought that the disease caused the famine, but apparently that's kind of how it happened. The disease is causing the famine as we speak. Around this time, the ill intent threefolds, a lot of that disease and famine actually gets incorporated into a lot of these evil people's threefolds. In fact, while it does unfortunately touch a lot of people who are innocent, the people who are most there's two main, maybe 3, 4 even main groups of really evil people, religious cults and things like that want to take over the world. Okay, these groups are walking straight into the fire, basically. Maybe not a literal fire, but because of what they believe. For example, one neo-Nazi Abrahamic type group actually believes that they are completely immune to any plague because their God protects them. So they purposefully try to get sick to prove themselves a point, and then they die. A lot of these threefolds, though, don't just run off of stuff like that. They're starting to get chronic. The ones that don't catch anything, the ones that have, for now, good luck, are starting to get chronic, uncurable illnesses. Things like cancer, things like organ failure, with, seemingly no source other than their own fault. Everything builds on itself. So the stuff I talked about in the beginning, that didn't go away. Everything, anytime you add something new, it just builds onto it. Right about the time that these people are getting ready to try and take over stuff, which is kind of right now, to be honest with you. Have you seen the news lately? Not just the United States, but UK, Germany, Russia, China, Ukraine. I could go on and on and on. Belarus. Just how many different places that people are trying to either control citizens, or there are citizens that are trying to overthrow actual, peacekeepers, people who really are for freedom. It's either people trying to overthrow a good government, or a bad government trying to overthrow good people. It's happening everywhere. It's crazy, yeah. It just all along. I can't even tell you all the different countries. It'd take too long. But it's happening on a kind of a testy scale right now. Most of it is happening, especially when it's the people against the government. It's happening on smaller levels right now. They're testing the waters right now, but they're still beginning nonetheless. This is how wars begin anyway. They begin small like this. No one really notices until something big happens, and then they finally declare war. We'll get to that in a little bit. We're not at that right yet, okay? But as they're trying to plot, basically, they're hit with all this bad luck and misfortune and famine and incurable things, and whatever to one's individual, of course, is going to be different, but they're all hit with all these things all at once. That diminishes their population just enough that when, after the famine and disease hits, the war actually does come, that diminishes their population enough that all the good actually has a chance at surviving. I mean, in war, a lot of innocent die anyway, but I'm just saying it's possible that all these people who want to control everything don't get what they want in the end. And the last thing is that the evils cancel each other out. They're so busy fighting each other that a lot of them die killing off each other. Unfortunately, each other is not their only enemy. Their enemy is anyone who wants freedom as well, anyone who's different, anyone who's an open thinker. So just because each other is their main target doesn't mean that if you're not, well, it's not even their main target. That's inaccurate. Just because they're going to cancel each other out doesn't mean that along the way you can't be their target along the way. If you stand in their way and you're not prepared, you're going down with them. And let me just stop a minute. I do believe in saying it like this because I want to keep it real. I don't want to give you riddles. I'm telling you exactly the way I was told. I don't want to poetically say shit. I just want to tell you the truth, and this is the truth, and this is how it's happened, and this is how it's happening, and this is how the rest of it eventually will happen. So basically, you've got the bad luck and the natural disasters, and you've got the famine, you've got the disease that causes the famine. You've got the famine that finally brings everyone to its end, and finally everything that was under the surface finally comes above the surface. It was already there, but the famine finally lets it explode, and the famine causes the war. The war causes basically maybe not all, but a lot of the evil people to butt heads and cancel each other out. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot of those evil people left still trying to take over the world, okay? If left unchecked, it'll be a repeat of World War II. If left unchecked, like it was in World War II, at the end of World War II, these people will be able to regroup, and they could potentially, one of them could potentially become a successor and control the entire world. So if we good people don't fight for what's right, when that time does come, if you're gay, LGBTQ, if you're a minority, if you are anything other than, you know, a lot of these Abrahamic, the really bad Abrahamic culty type religions, if you're not a Christian cult, if you're not a Islamic cult, if you're not whatever cult, and you believe in freedom, if you're Buddhist, if you're pagan, if you're whatever, Wicca, I don't know, if you're Jewish, you're their target. And you're innocent. They are not. They want to kill everyone that's not exactly like them and destroy them. You just want to live. That's all you want to do. You just want peace and you want to live. I'm telling you right now, if we don't do anything about it when the time does come, I'm not saying go out there and, cause a ruckus. I'm saying, be prepared, be ready. Because when the time does come, if you're not prepared to defend yourself when you need to defend yourself, that's a big difference than just randomly going after somebody. I'm not saying it. If you're not prepared to defend yourself when the time comes to defend yourself, we will lose that battle. And it'll be left up to squabbles at the end. Because anyone who's left over from that cancelling out, they're going to squabble among each other, and we're not going to have much say in it because we weren't prepared and we didn't defend ourselves. We went after hope instead of going after defense. We went after, let me just hide in a corner and hope. No, I'm telling you right now, this is not a time to just run away. This is not something you can run away from. The only way that we fight back against people like this, eventually it's going to get to the point of World War III, unfortunately. People are going to be knocking on your door. They're going to ask you questions. I don't know if it's in my lifetime, but it probably will be. People are going to be knocking on your door, asking you questions. And if you don't answer them right, it's going to be just like World War II. If you don't answer them right, they're going to kill you. In fact, they're already doing it in Ukraine. They're already doing it in Ukraine. These people, claiming to get rid of the Nazis, they're the actual Nazis themselves. And they're killing anyone they can find that's not a Nazi. There you go, I warned you. Be prepared. Defend yourself, but only when necessary.